What's up, world? This is We Need a Fifth. This your man Mo. Got my man P in the building.
Yo, it's good.
Got my man Hill on the line.
Switching destinations today.
Yeah, some of us is too good for the logo now.
Yeah,
Man.
I'm gonna be where
You
P's
know,
at. To tell you the truth, man, I'm
That's
stuck like one of the
you
offsprings
got to go to
movies.
the islands on us
yeah,
right
man.
now.
Tropical peas in the building, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, Tropical P is in the building. He's going out to the tropics, and while he's out there, he might see Steve Nash,
Hmm.
who's been released from the Brooklyn Nets, and he is free to go fishing. Fellas, what's going on in Brooklyn? I mean, I know I don't think there's been a zoo in Brooklyn for a while, but this is crazy out here right now. What's
Yeah,
going on?
yeah, it's definitely a zoo somewhere for the scapegoat to go. Gotta
Hmm.
got, gotta blame somebody, right? Somebody gotta take the force. Good move, Sean Marks. Good move, Sean Marks. Don't it ain't my fault.
Wow.
Th-
I guess what was
throw
worse,
him
the
under that
hiring or the
bus.
firing? The
No,
hiring and the
the
firing was
firing was a
worse.
smart move. I think the hiring was worse. The firing was a smart move because he saved his own job. He's
For
he's
now.
next.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for now.
he's next.
You
I,
think so?
oh,
I
I
don't
pretty
think
much
he's
know,
next.
so I don't think so. I'm almost sure he is.
I think your boy Kyrie gets out before he does.
And you might trade KD during the mids, but at the same time, I think Sean Marks will be gone.
Now,
A first year
I
coach with no experience coach these two.
now I know the narrative right now
Mm-hmm.
is that Steve Nash is the scapegoat. But can we really be honest right now? Can we really be honest with America, with the world? Can we really be honest? He wasn't that good of a coach. I mean, I'm hearing people saying he's empathetic and all that. Oh, that's great, but that has nothing to do with the X's and O's of playing basketball.
Yeah, the
And
bot. Mhm.
he didn't show me any talent in that regard. I mean, am I bugging?
No,
Did he?
the bottom line, he had Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on his team and lost more games than he's won to this point. I can't say I would have to say it's bad coaching.
And
You
and
can't say
and and,
you can't say he doesn't have enough talent.
and be clear. Hey, he had Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But be clear, he never had any coaching experience. I mean, what did you want from the guy? I mean,
No,
tried.
and Hill, I'm totally with you because I was
Uh,
on that bandwagon early. Like, hey, he shouldn't have been hired because he lacked any type of coaching experience. But
right.
once you gave him the job, I'm expecting that, hey, maybe you saw something that we weren't privy to. Maybe you had discussions with him that made you feel that, hey, he was a talented coach and could get the X's and O's of coaching and leading grown men um, in a professional basketball team. Waited for that to happen, and it didn't happen. And he looked like someone that never had any coaching experience. So, but right now, what I'm hearing is, oh, he's the scapegoat. It wasn't fair. Like, I understand he has a messed up situation with the Kyrie debacle and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, he couldn't get the job done. And it wasn't because he didn't have talent on the team. And he didn't show us any inklings of, oh, if these guys were just available or if these guys were just here on the court, I can make this happen. I can bring this together and make it look like a championship team. He never gave me that sense. And I'm getting this narrative of, oh, he's the scapegoat. No, they had good reason to fire him. He shouldn't have been hired in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people would be in agreement with you. I mean, this was a KD choice. It's one of those things in which a star player picks their coach. So I'm not going to fault Nash for this. I think they gave in to Kyrie and Kevin Durant. I think this is a Joe Tsai issue. You know what I mean? It's you taking your team back. You pay the bills. You know what I mean? So therefore, you need to gain control. The inmates are running the asylum, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? So get a coach that's, I mean, these guys look like they're now thirsting for a coach for guidance. They've seen that they just can't. As Kyrie said, maybe I can coach sometime, or KD can coach sometimes. It's not that tough. You know what I mean? Now they see like they need someone to actually guide them on X's and O's. And God knows, especially defense.
Yeah.
I mean, now I'm getting to the point now they're not running great offensive sets. It's just pretty much, you know, curl and let KD operate or let Kyrie operate. And when a shot clock goes down, maybe a Curry or a Joe Harris jump shot. And that's not going to cut it in this type of league. So I'm not surprised on anything. I mean, you could have fired him in the beginning when you first hired him, because he had any coaching experience. I want to get into that point about what coaches have to go through to get these jobs. You know what I mean? But I understand this is what KD wanted, so he got it. Fine. But when they got swept by Boston, that was the perfect time. I thought you should have canned him. So going into what, 7 games in this year, you fire him now. Brooklyn's a mess, and it only seems like it's going to get worse before it gets better. You know what I mean?
P, what's your thoughts on this, man? I know you kind of along with us with the fact that Steve Nash probably shouldn't have been hired, but what do you think about how they fired him and let him go?
Again, that's the scapegoat situation. I agree. He has no experience. Like Hill was about to allude to, you know how hard, you know, it's so hard to get a job. He just walked into, I mean, really, when you look at it at face value, a great position where you have Durant, Kyrie, James Harden. What rookie coach wouldn't want those 3 players? You know what I mean? So the fact that he wasn't successful, it just gives off he's not a good coach. Now, maybe with some experience, he could become one, but right now, he's just not a good coach. I can't look at that team and look at the results and say, oh, he's a decent coach. You can't do it. But I do think still he's taken the fall, and maybe deservedly so. But it's kind of like he shouldn't have been here to begin with. That's kind of why I call him the scapegoat. You know what I mean? Like he shouldn't have been here in the beginning. And when I say the scapegoat, I'm mainly talking about the general manager. Like you hired him. So whatever failure, whatever he's not ready, whatever inexperience, that's on you because you put him in this position. So, you know.
And I think it's the conundrum that we talked about in previous shows, in the sense that, hey, where you draw the line as an organization as far as, hey, attracting superstar talent like Kevin Durant, like a Kyrie Irving. Hey, there's certain concessions that you have to make, or a lot of teams do make, to attract those superstars. But when do you say enough is enough? And when do you draw that line and say, all right, we can give you X, Y, and Z, but we can't go beyond that because of our organizational values, our organizational culture, as far as trying to create a winning atmosphere or a championship atmosphere.
Yeah, and I think they've shown they're weak. The organization is weak. There is no culture. They're just, you know, they're going to placate to Durant, Kyrie, because they're just happy to have him there. Because you're always going to be, you know, the little brother to the Knicks anyway. You know what I mean? So when you say the culture and take a stance, no, they're a weak organization. That's what this shows me. They're just the organization is weak.
Now, I know we talked about Steve Nash. I want to talk a little bit about one of Paul's favorites, P's favorite players, Ben Simmons. He's out again. Um, um, at this point in his career, and it's something I want to ask about him and quite honestly Kawhi, but I know this show is not about any other teams, but with the amount of injuries, the mental health concerns, I think it's time for him to really take a step back and maybe consider retiring and leaving the game. You know, a, he's a millionaire, you know. It doesn't seem like he's gonna get past these health issues or something, because you know, the first 2 weeks of the season, he hasn't looked well. He doesn't look like yeah. P, talk to me, man. Talk to me.
I feel like
What we gonna do with your favorite player, Ben Simmons, man? What's going on with Ben Simmons in Brooklyn? What's going to happen with Ben? That's what the people really want to know. You know what I mean? He's on the bench in street clothes right now.
You know, when I look at Brooklyn, at this point, I don't think he's top 5 on that team. You know what I mean? Like you think? At this point, do you think Ben Simmons is better than Joe Harris?
He's taller. He's taller.
It's oh
that's
man.
horrible for Joe Harris. If I'm just shrugging my shoulders, like it's Brooklyn's getting to that status of who cares. You know what I mean? Like Ben Simmons was a coach. He was a DNP CD. You know what I mean? So he's not hurt. He's jumping up and down on the side of it. I mean, it's a joke. He was having a good time at the end of the bench. He's not hurt, so he should be in the game playing. And it just shows the disaster, which is the Brooklyn Nets. You know what I mean? It's just a bad optic. So I try not to really bring up Ben Simmons at all anymore, because he's insignificant. Now, I mean, he's jumping aside of it, and I'm like, they shouldn't even cut to him. He's not important. He's not of any importance. He can't help the team when he's totally healthy. So I think they're giving him too much.
Yeah,
and even that little cut that they gave him is just too much, you know.
And did you notice the side eye that Kevin Durant gave him watching him jump down on the bench?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, to me, I'm more concerned with Steph Curry getting healthy. Like, because Steph Curry's better than him. I'm gonna start calling it what it is. Steph Curry can help the Nets more than Ben Simmons can help the Nets.
Right.
Like I'm done looking at 5 years ago. We'll talk about today. Steph Curry and Joe Harris and Claxton are better than Ben Simmons right now. So, like, talking about him is like talking about a bench player at this point. He's not gonna help Brooklyn. If he plays, he's not gonna help them. Right. So why would I care when he's on the bench?
No, and you guys might know it, and for the life of me, his name escapes me right now. But there is a player on the Brooklyn Nets. I want to say maybe Claxton, but I don't believe it's Claxton. No,
big man?
It's a wingman. No, he's not. He hasn't gotten a lot of playing time this year, but last year he got a lot of playing time, and he showed potential. Oh my goodness, Thomas.
I don't know who, the rookie.
Yeah, but this just goes to show you, man. Brooklyn is the Lakers East at this point. I know they're a hot topic. It's cool to talk about, whatever, but they're bad teams. They're bad teams with well-known names.
Now the rumors going around the water cooler is that the Brooklyn Nets have their sights set on Ime Udoka for the next head coach position. It looks like Boston will let Ime go without seeking any type of compensation. But those reports are kind of all over the place. You have some reports saying that, hey, that's who they're targeting, where you have also the Brooklyn Nets saying that they haven't made their decision yet on who's going to be the next head coach. What do you what do you think a Brooklyn Nets team with Ime Udoka at the head looks like? Is it a vast improvement, or has the the car totally gone off the rails, and this train is unsalvageable? We can't get it to its ultimate destination of a championship, no matter who's at the helm.
Oh no, I think it's a huge upgrade. You're going from a coach that went to the NBA Finals to a coach that got swept in the first round. I mean, so that's it's a huge upgrade. It's a great pickup if they could get it.
Yeah, I mean, I would love this pick if it was next year. I mean, this guy is off of a heck of a controversy. I would think he would need about a year to build back up his reputation. The Nets are that desperate to bring him on right now. I mean, you would have to vet him. I know you guys are in dire straits, but I mean, you rock this out with Jacques Vaughn, and then you vet Ime Udoka to make sure there's nothing else prior to that, which I'm sure they're probably going to do, but build back up your reputation. I would think it would be a little difficult for him to coach in this situation. I would think from a player standpoint, and players get finicky. I mean, I would use it towards somewhat, of a crutch. You know what I'm saying? Like this organization's in disaster, and they bring him to be the cherry on top. It just seems nuts to me. You know what I mean? Have a year, work on yourself, build back a reputation, have some statements out there, apologetic, let people know what went on, clear it up, and then come back and get a chance. We know nothing about the whole Ime Udoka situation. Now, granted, I know you need a coach, but there's a reason why you're home right now. And none of us know what it is. And if it's to the point where we're saying, well, it's none of our business, okay, but what that none of our business led to you not working and being let go eventually. I mean, that's what they're waiting on right now. So from a basketball standpoint, fine. Okay, it's an upgrade, but at what cost is Brooklyn getting Ime Udoka?
Yeah, and I think to your point, Hill, it's just bad optics. Especially with this organization dealing with all the issues that they're dealing with, both on and off the court, to bring in a coach that lost his job for the year, basically. And this is not a coach that, hey, his team was among the dregs last year. Mm-hmm. This is a coach, his team went to the championship to compete against the eventual Golden State Warriors champions. So, hey, he's no scrub. He has talent. We know his potential. But for that organization to say, hey, you need to sit down and go home, and for the narrative that's been built around why he's gone home, and although we don't know the full story or the full scope of the story, from what we've been led to believe by people that do know the full scope of the story, is that, hey, at the very least, he's getting off light, being sent home for 1 year suspension. That's the feeling that you get from people that, hey, have more knowledge about why he's been suspended. Is that, hey, oh, he's getting off light. From NBA players to former coaches, all that. Matt Barnes, for example, when he first heard about the story, he was in Ime Udoka's camp saying, hey, why are you suspending him? He learned more about the story and said, I understand. and he said, I'll leave it at that because I can't tell more about what I know, but I totally understand he's getting off. So it's like, hey, you're going to bring that coach to your organization, and you're dealing with Kyrie with the it just like Hill said, a cherry on top of the screwed up Sunday.
Mm. I guess, but the actual question that you had is it better than Nash? Infinitesimally. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Even with all of that, I get it, but I don't know. I ride this year out with Jacques Vaughn. Let it go as it is. If he's ready next year and after everything's done, then sure, Ime Udoka with a fresh start. Sure, you might not have KD, you might not have Kyrie. I'm almost sure you probably won't have Kyrie.
And to speak to that, Hill, let's say, what if the plan for the Brooklyn Nets is, you know what? We're going to try to secure our coach of tomorrow, even if it's a little premature to get him into the fold. But we're going to just do a fire sale and burn and salt the earth and start all over. If that's the plan, does it make more sense to get Ime Udoka as opposed to, hey, if the plan is to keep Kyrie and KD together, see, hey, what we can do with this for the duration of the rest of their contracts? Kyrie for the rest of the year, KD for the next 2 or 3 years, and does that change? Would that change your feelings on them getting Ime Udoka at this
point? You didn't offer Kyrie the extension, so I don't think Kyrie's back by any means. I think he's done with Brooklyn after this year.
Yeah, I'm saying that. What if Brooklyn Josiah came to you and say, "Hey, you know what? So the plan is we're gonna get rid of Kyrie immediately. We're gonna try to get rid of KD immediately.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take whatever we can get."
Mm-hmm.
If he tells you that's the plan,
mm-hmm.
as opposed to right now, hey, the plan is, you know what? Let's just get a new coach in here and see what we can do for the remainder of Kyrie's contract, which is the rest of the season at most, and he's out of the building, and see what a new coach can do with Kevin Durant with the remainder of his contract. Does that change your feeling on how you feel about them going after Ime Udoka or hiring Ime Udoka?
I wouldn't hire Ime Udoka in general. Either way, I just wouldn't do it in general.
Okay.
I mean, I hope he gets another job, but I would not hire him.
Wow.
Period. Done.
No.
He's a very good coach.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go somewhere else. Absolutely. I'll give someone else a shot. Absolutely. I wouldn't go down that route. Period. And I would be missing out probably on one of the better coaches of the league. I understand that. But I would try to set a precedent with my team if I'm getting rid of them or am I keeping them, that I have to bring in some sort of different type of cheese, some new type of culture. You know what I mean? Like, and it's probably going to be expensive me going to a finals with a very good coach, because I think he's a very good coach. But I would rather sacrifice that and having my organization and reputation being branded a certain way and not bringing that in. That's just me. Now, all of that comes with winning. All of that gets bought over. People wouldn't even care, probably sure, but I would rather sacrifice that and just start new.
No, you make a good argument, man.
Yeah, because you might have swayed me a little, because I was going to say I'm completely opposite. I think it's a good hire no matter what. I think if you plan on keeping KD and Kyrie, okay, and got something to work with, let's go. If you think you're going to do a quick rebuild, you got a good coach in tow, let's go. But to your point, the culture, like what does that do to your culture, the controversy, whatever. But I mean, I guess I'm looking for more from a coaching standpoint. Either you're rebuilding or you're just keeping the same players. I think it makes a good hire. But culture-wise, probably not so much. But yeah, I would hire him. You know what I mean? I would hire him.
I think he's a great hire. He went to the finals.
Right.
But at the same time, with Kyrie and KD in the last 4 to 5 years, it has been nothing but headache after headache after headache. Now your branding is having an issue. You know what I mean? And now you bring Ime Udoka. It's like, I would actually look towards trading both, not having Ime Udoka and blowing it up and rebuilding the brand of Brooklyn back over. This was a complete loss, a disaster. We messed up. We put our hands into two players, which we should have never done. We should have ran an organization like a business. They didn't do that. As crazy as it sounds, LeBron James was a better GM than these two were. And I hate having star players being GMs because they make terrible GMs. But he got it, bubble, whatever, he got a bubble championship. But as you can see, great players tend to not make great. That's the reason why LA is in the position that they're in. These sharp minds should be recruiting and building up teams from scratch and taking information from your great players and using it about whatever formula you have to make your teams great. Not actually picking the players which they think would, that these star players want. Heck no. You know what I'm saying? You would think that having James Harden with those other two is automatic championship. Wrong. You would think having Westbrook with, they don't make the playoffs. It just doesn't work. Stick to having a GM, stick to your formula, and stick to building up teams.
Sounds like you're saying that they can't play NBA 2K with real NBA teams. It's not a video game.
No, it's not.
You can't just put any players that you want and just look at their overall ratings and say, "Oh, this is going to be a championship team." It's not going to work. You got to do a little bit more homework, put a little bit more effort into it. Besides just looking at the names, and saying, "Hey, I get enough big names together, I can make something work." No, you can't. It has to be a little bit more thought, a little bit more decisiveness needs to go into that.
I mean, getting rid of Durant is going to be tough for that organization if there's a way to keep that. I think right now, I would be shopping Kyrie. I really would.
And speaking of Kyrie, I was holding off on even talking about this subject. I don't want to give it too much airtime. I think people are giving it too much airtime as it is. But do you think that the NBA needs to make a move on Kyrie based on what's happened in the last couple of days concerning his tweet, the charges of him being at the very least promoting anti-Semitic views? Do you think he should be suspended or anything to that effect?
To be honest, I haven't seen what he was promoting. Like it seems to me he's saying that it's not anti-Semitic. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the narrative. I didn't see it. Full disclosure, so I'm not sure. Yeah, but it sounds to me like he's saying that but it sounds to me what he posted, he doesn't feel was anti-Semitic, nor does he, co-sign anything that would be anti-Semitic. So I would have to really see what he promoted to say, should the NBA step in or not? You know what I mean? Because according to him, it was anti-Semitic at all.
And
so if that's the case.
And that's more so interpretation. You know what I mean? That's how he feels. But to me, personally, I stay out of it. From a organizational standpoint, just to save face and the branding, they should have suspended him for a day. Even if you just slapped his hand and worked something out with the franchise, just for the optics, you should have done something. Now, whether I agree with it or disagree with it, totally something different. But from a business standpoint, I thought something should have been done. Could have been worked out. But you have to, if you're going to have homophobic speech, racial speech, affect other demographics. And if it's a feel from another demographics of, say, you can't kind of pick and choose with these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the vice president of the Player Association. He should be a little bit more attacked, I think, in doing that. I mean, the eyes are on him. but they'll grieve it. He knows the position. I think just having that, and with the grievance, it might have not went anywhere when they bargain it. But at the same time, just the NBA saying, you know, we don't condone any type of thing. You don't have to say he was wrong or right. We just don't condone that type of thing if it affects someone. You know what I mean? Because it's money that the NBA has to think of, the NFL and all types of things of that nature. And usually the NBA tends to get these things right. I think getting ahead of it, if you just do that, and then they work it out, I think it passes. Now I think it just lingers on and on and on and on. You know what I mean? Because it would have been a suspension. Those were his thoughts. He says, I don't feel that way. And I actually believe him, period. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, because his story sounds plausible. Because he's like, hey,
totally
listen, I saw something promoting African or African American thing, and I'm looking to research my African roots, and I said, oh, this looks interesting, and threw it up on Twitter.
Absolutely, but the love, but here's where you get into a slippery slope, because other demographics use the love of their culture to bring down another culture.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if you have people saying like, I love my race so much at the expense of someone else. And again, I see what he's saying, but I think you could also see when people saying, well, I might not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no offense to them, but I just really, really, really love my race. But then you're taking a shot at another race by doing that. And I don't want to get into particulars about it, but you open that up with this. So I think the NBA should have just said, like they did, we totally condone it, has some type of suspension. It would have been a slap on the wrist, and this thing goes on. Now
it's becoming an animal of its own.
Yeah.
And I, depending on how he navigates the next couple of weeks, I think will determine how the rest of his career goes and what type of contracts he's able to secure going forward. Because I think he still has to navigate this. He's not out of the woods yet. I think this could threaten his career in the NBA.
It's interesting. I mean, the person who heads the entire NBA, he's actually Jewish. So it's like, no punitive damage came down from Adam Silver. You guys condoning it? You know what I mean? And Adam's on the side of saying, well, I got the players make my market. It's not a position I would want to be in. It's just pretty much like, I do not want to be in these situations.
Yeah.
So to me, the easiest thing to do would be get ahead of it, do a suspension. You guys have back channels, but just for the optics, he's suspended. You know what I mean? Like, this is not good for the brand.
But do you honestly think Kyrie's going to go for that?
Well, I mean, with any suspension, you know, the player association will fight it.
No, I'm just saying, hey, and I'm assuming that, and this is where I might be losing the whole train of thought. My assumption was, hey, I was asking it. For me, I think Kyrie has to be careful how he navigates the next couple of weeks. And I'm talking about Kyrie Irving himself. I think next couple of weeks are going to be pivotal for him, especially as this narrative keeps on going and going and going. In the scenario that you posed where, hey, Adam Silver says, you know what, we're going to suspend you for a day because, you know what, we're condemning any type of hate speech or any resemblance of hate speech. I think that would be Adam Silver doing Kyrie a solid. I think, hey, Adam Silver, if he allows this animal to keep on growing or this narrative to keep on going, and if Kyrie sticks to his guns and stays in the position he's been in the sense that, hey, I haven't done anything wrong, you guys are bugging. If he stays in that mode, and Adam Silver doesn't do a suspension, I think Kyrie in the season, he might finish out playing the rest of the season, but once his contract is up, he's going to find that the offers are going to be fewer and far between. That hey,
but I don't think he'll get that far. I mean, if he's going to continue and double down, I think he will be suspended. You have to protect the brand. I don't think they'll let him go the entire season and continue to push the envelope. I don't think that will be the case. I mean, we saw it. For one, it's somewhat easy. They're not good. And two, you saw a year in which he did not play due to COVID. So it's pretty much easier for them to make a move and say, you're suspended for 5 games. You're suspended for 20 games.
And only pushback I would give to you to that is, hey, Brooklyn organization is trying to, I think, shield Kyrie from himself in the sense that they're not making him available to media. They're not putting him in front of the press. So under those circumstances, like, hey, the next couple of weeks, he's not in front of the press. If this narrative keeps on rolling and rolling, do you think the NBA will follow through with a suspension?
Well, if he doesn't do anything, no. But if he says some other thing, sure.
Oh, actually, we just got some. Just got some news. Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets will each donate $500,000 in the wake of Irving's controversial social media posts about a book and movie that featured anti-Semitic tropes. So,
I think he just saved his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he still has another time to say, "Listen, I wasn't wrong."
No, he has a statement. I oppose all forms of hatred and oppression, and stand strong with the communities that are marginalized and impacted every day. Irving said in the statement, "I am aware of the negative impact of my post towards the Jewish community, and I take responsibility. I do not believe everything said in the documentary was true or reflects my morals and principles. I am a human being, learned from all walks of life, and I tend to do so with an open mind and a willingness to listen. So for my family and I, we meant no harm to any one group, race, or religion of people, and wish to only have a beacon of truth and light."
Yeah, it's over. That's the brand, though. But that's the protection of the brand. Someone came in and said, "It's bigger than you."
Is a beast, yeah.
Well,
his publicist is a beast.
When you go out and it's simple. I mean, he's a free agent. You know what I mean? Like you want to continue in something in which has made you live on a different lifestyle and giving that up. You know what I mean? Because whether you made 60 million one year, 40 million one year, you live at a different lifestyle and that money goes, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So to have that ability to have more earning power at the end of the year, I think it kicked in. You know what I mean? This might be your last big contract, no matter how talented you are, because people don't want to put up with it. Because you can, talk your way out of this league.
Yeah.
So that's not a shocker. And good for him. And I'm glad. So you can move on for that.
So do we think that, hey, all they need is to get a new coach? Can this roster be competitive, the Brooklyn Nets? From what we've seen the last 2 weeks, can they be competitive? If we get a competent coach who can give me some solid X and O's plans, a defensive plan, a solid offensive plan for Ben Simmons, solid defensive plan for the team. Can this team be a contender? Can this roster be a contender?
I think they max out at the second round.
Because the defensive plan last year. But a defensive plan is effort, and I don't think you have. I mean, like Royce O'Neal and Claxton, your defensive players, sure, and Ben Simmons, sure, but you need effort.
Yeah,
your two greatest players aren't. I mean, KD is good help defense, but these guys, Kyrie's not ever been mistaken for.
Yeah, Kyrie KD's a slightly better defender, I guess, than Kyrie. You say KD's a serviceable defender. Kyrie, he's not horrible. That's not a glowing endorsement. Kyrie's not horrible on defense, but but I'm looking at teams like Cleveland, Boston, Milwaukee. They can't beat them in a 7-game series.
No.
No.
The funniest thing is they don't have enough firepower.
Yeah.
Forget defense. I don't think they have enough offense.
Like
both of them guys give you like 70.
Yeah, we've seen it this season. They both average over 30. So we know that they'll score and lose.
Now, let me ask you guys this. We all assume that Kyrie won't be long for the Brooklyn Nets, whether it's a trade during the season or they just allow the contract to expire at the end of this season. With that being said, we assume that they're going to keep Kevin Durant. Who should they be targeting to pair with Kevin Durant? Or do you think that they should be pairing anybody with Kevin Durant at this point? Do you go the Giannis route as far as, hey, you get serviceable role players that are stars in their role to fill the gaps around Kevin Durant and see how far he can take you? Or do you try to look for that sidekick or that partner in crime to help him achieve the goal of getting a championship?
I'll give you Kyrie and Durant for the #1 pick.
Yeah. I wouldn't even hesitate.
Wow.
Yeah. I wouldn't even hesitate.
for Kyrie and Durant.
Yeah.
I'll give you Kyrie, Durant, and Claxton.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll give you the whole team because now I have salary cap. Yeah, I got salary cap space now. Like,
I'll package them all right now.
Yeah, I'll be back in 2 or 3 years. Just give me some
Start
time.
fresh.
Yeah.
New coach, and VW. I'll give you that right now. That's the deal I'll give you right now.
And
now, if you're the team that has the #1 pick, do you give that up? Depending on who you are, like
no. If he has the #1 pick, there's no.
For Kyrie and Durant,
The only thing I can think of is that's like trading LeBron. That's like Cleveland trading their pick when they drafted LeBron or Orlando when they had Shaq. Dumbest move you'll ever make. But to answer your question, I don't think you try to pair another superstar with Durant because you did that. You did that already with Harden and Kyrie. You try to get the best fit as possible, most talent as possible. But I don't think obviously one player in Durant's not going to get it done. We're seeing that right now.
Might not happen, but I give you one right now. What? Hey, Kyrie for Dame Lillard.
If I'm the Nets,
Portland be stupid to do it.
Portland, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, if the Nets, I do it. I don't think that's a championship out all of a sudden, but I mean that's more of this ain't working, so maybe that would work. Like that's all that is to me. Like I know this ain't working, so give me Dame.
It's just more of the lines of now we're talking about a basketball team. Someone's coming to work. You know what I mean? It's not so much work in a sideshow. I think Kyrie is just uber talented to do a lot more other things, which he doesn't need to do, but he does, and still has the talent to be one of the top 2 point guards in this game. I think he's just that special. But with Dame, it's just, I'm coming to work and I just want to do that with Kevin Durant. It would be a different type of feel. You know what I mean? I think so much noise Kevin has to deal with. It might go quite far actually in the East, but I mean, it won't happen, so it doesn't matter. I just think Kevin Durant is stuck. I think he had his chance to stay on that Disney cruise ship, and he decided, to jump off a boat, go on a dinghy, and go hang out there in Wilson over there on a deserted island. I think he was fine where he was. He'll never find that matchup, which he had at Golden State, and it sucks. But
yeah,
this is the choice that he chose to go with it.
And it's sad is he could have probably had like 4 or 5 chips by now,
Yeah, but he wanted to do it on his own, and he's done that.
Well, He's tried to do it on his own.
Yeah, no, it just makes, to me, it actually hurts his legacy for me. I don't know how other people feel. It just, especially with, I thought before Steph won the championship last year that he came over to win a championship. I mean, I didn't think he was the driving force. He was the best player in the team, sure, but in a team of really good players, you know what I mean? So
yeah, it's his legacy is definitely take a hit. And, he's a great player and all of that, but before and after Curry's how people are going to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is that he was trying to add to his legacy by letting people see what he could do without Curry or without, and what he's ended up doing is adding to the legacy of Curry to show people, hey, I could do this even without Kev. I could do this with the young guys, not a bunch of veterans like that first championship team was.
Yeah, he gives opportunity to, he reminded us, I won before Durant got here, and I'm going to win after Durant leaves. So, yeah, Curry did what Durant's trying to do, basically,
And however people feel about Kyrie, who's my guy, it's really going to be brutal when Kyrie leaves Brooklyn. I mean, whatever you think about he's doing with Kyrie and having struggles, when Kyrie bolts, you're really going to see Kevin Durant lose it.
Yeah.
You zapping 35 points right out the gate right then and there. And one of the most talented players, period. He's not going to get it. So no one's going to match him. So that is going to get even worse.
Wow. I feel like we covered all the bases with Brooklyn right now. I think the only thing left out there, I know, Hill, you think that Jacques Vaughn should retain the interim head coaching position and finish out the season.
Right.
P, do you think, hey, the Nets should go get a new coach? And who do you think they should be targeting?
Oh, I think they're on the right path. Ime, he's the best available coach. He's the best available coach. Easy.
And see, I would have agreed with you like 30 minutes ago before Hill started talking about Ime. He's convinced me that Ime shouldn't be working in the NBA for this year. He's convinced me of that. And he's convinced me that, in particular, the Brooklyn Nets should not be the team to hire Ime Udoka.
Now that's fair.
In this season, like if there's going to be a team to bring him back into the fold and hire him as a coach for this season, I don't think it needs to be the Brooklyn Nets.
But I think you're thinking, and you should, as a fan, you think from an organizational standpoint, that general manager is thinking about job security, right? You know what I mean? Like he might not have 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get it right. The owner might say, "This is your mess. Get out. We're going to rebuild without you." So they both have San Antonio ties. So, they have a relationship or whatever. So I think Sean Marks is looking like, Ime, come and save my job. Clean up this mess for me, please.
So that's the reason why I think they're going to hire him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Sean, I don't think Sean Marks is, you have Kevin Durant and Kyrie on your team. There's no rebuild. I need to get it done now, or at least have a upward trajectory. Like, okay, we'll be better next year. Something.
And it should be a jolt of energy. You know what I mean? They might have that push for the season with him. I mean, you might have a quiet Ime from a off the court standpoint, and he might just do what he needs to do on the court, and they might, go for. I still don't think they have enough to win, and that's the whole thing. Like Ime Udoka isn't here to push them to a finals and ultimately win.
Yeah, I think if they get to the second round, Sean Marks bought himself some time. You know what I mean? We made it further than we did last year. And now they lose in the first round, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough because then you didn't do nothing. might as well kept Nash.
Fellas, like I said, it looks like we covered the entirety of the Brooklyn Zoo. What's on the radar, man? Let me ask that.
I guess with everybody else's, man, rest in peace, Takeoff, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely rest in peace, Takeoff. Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
And we were just talking about, hip hop stars or entertainers dying before 30, in a previous show. So it's so unfortunate to see it happening again, and too often we're saying rest in peace.
Yeah, it really is. I was thinking to myself, I said, it's just be nice to be able to settle things, not so much with guns. But a friend of mine told me, it said, bro, that's Texas. Along with waking up and putting on your pants and shirt, mostly everybody's strapped in Texas. Yeah. So that's about nothing. It's just, nothing new to see people armed. So it's a little different from, New York. And I was like, wow, put in perspective, like, oh, okay. So, hey.
Definitely rest in peace to Takeoff.
Absolutely.
All right. Fellas, it's been real, man.
Yeah, man. Brooklyn, good luck.
We had to give him a whole hour just to discuss this Brooklyn Zoo stuff. We couldn't even get into anything else really. So,
does Steve Nash get another job? Probably not, right?
Oh, I hope not. No, I want him to be an assistant coach in college first, or something like that. I want him to coach a high school basketball team first. You know what I mean? Like, let him go through the journey.
I wanted to be the assistant first. From what I saw, I don't want the high school kids to follow that lead. Let him be assistant first.
Yeah. Wow. No, you're right. You're right.
I don't. Yeah. From what I saw, give the high school kids a chance, please.
Yeah. And give the people who's actually doing the merits to, get a job the right way. People are working hard on the bench.
And this is going to be another shameless plug. Bill Russell, your resume stands strong. Cats don't realize how hard it is. Bill Russell won a chip, ladies and gentlemen, as a player and a coach, same time. Okay? I'm just saying.
Not that easy, right?
Just saying. He's the only one to do it. There's a reason.
82 games too, though.
Yeah, you know what?
It's about 70. It's about 76 more games than they played back then too.
That's enough. That's enough, Hill.
Like 76 more games they play now.
That's enough, Hill. That's enough, Hill.
Now, to his credit, I'm sure he didn't have the level of KD and Kyrie's talent on that team.
Whoa. Right. All right, P.
No, you're not listening. I'm sure he did not have the level of talent of KD and Kyrie on those teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better coach. Good coach.
I'm sure he wasn't playing on the lines of people who would like KD or Kyrie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I heard after the game they were able to fix your sink.
Don't forget to hit us up on social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we still on Twitter for now. Elon's trying to go crazy with Twitter. I don't know, but hit us up while we still on there.
Yeah, we got banned yet.
Email us directly at weneedthefifth@gmail.com. Hey, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Hit that notification button so you find out when the next video is coming out. Fellas, it's been real.
Always, man. You got a nice jump shot. Yo, take your utility belt off. Got a nice jump shot. Yo, do you put out your utility belt? Put it on the ground. Please.
Shut it down. Shut the show down. Be out.
I can't even. Wow.